Hi there, it's Wolfster back again in this next episode of the 18 episodes with the overall theme, Is the Human Race About to Mature? And welcome to now episode 11. Boy, I'm getting through it, aren't I? Episode 11. Now this episode ties very much in with episode 10, in fact the whole 18 all tie in. They're all one. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. All 18 will come together and produce a big picture. But particularly these three, really you need to watch them all to get everything in context. So that's episode 10, episode 11, and also the next one, episode 12. These are all very, very, very connected episodes. I've split it up simply because it's easier to just have a half an hour than an hour and a half. Now, this one here, episode 11, extraterrestrial visitors. Now, that's a big topic, isn't it? And it fits in very well with what's going on in our world today and with what's about to come. Now, first of all, what I'd like to do with this episode, just to get everything in perspective, I'd like to start this off telling more of a story. Now, the story starts back in the days when our sun wasn't even ignited into a star. The story begins with a gas giant that was orbiting another distant star. Now this gas giant had moons around it. This gas giant it grew in size. And this is something I'm going to talk about later from episode 13, I think it is. But the gas giant grows in both size and in density. When it reaches a certain density and size, it moves away from its star and spontaneously combusts. So you've got first a gas giant similar to Jupiter in our system now, with its moons around it. A gas giant moves away, ignites, and becomes a new star. Now, that is what happened. And that goes back. That's how the previous star got to be. And the one before, and the one before, and the one before, and the one before. This is how galaxies develop and grow. Stars form from gas giants. And then these stars form their own heliosphere and become another solar system. So our star that we call the sun, that we love to, ancient cultures have literally worshipped it, and we do have sun lovers now that almost worship it. But our star was once a gas giant in another system, and that has become now the star that we know as the sun. And its moons have become his planets, including, of course, our Earth. Now, although all planets and stars are living entities, our Earth at this time, when the sun was young, it had just become a star, our Earth was very much in a developmental stage. She could be, eventually would have become very much the same as what we call exoplanets. that we are discovering today with the Hubble and the James Webb telescopes. And we're finding these planets, but all these planets that some of them are in the Goldilocks stage or that area, but for some reason they could never support life. Now, for a long time, our Earth was in that phase where she was kind of like an exoplanet moving around our star, and together with the other planets, of course. So, although she was in that Goldilocks situation, she was dormant because she couldn't get the cycles right that were necessary for her to bring forth life. Up until our first visitation. Now, I know this has been said, I'm not the first one to say this. Our first visitors, they literally have the job, that's their purpose in coming from another star system. In this case, the first ones that came here would have been a very advanced civilization, or come from a very advanced civilization. They came here, they at first assessed the situation in our system, looked to see what needs to be done, and there was a lot that needed to be done. But they had technologies that we right now in our state of immaturity as a race, we can't even, no hope of even fathoming it, beyond our wildest imagination. So they came here with all of that knowledge, all of that understanding. They probably even done it before somewhere else. And they looked at the situation with our system here, realized there's a planet that can be helped to awaken. The first thing they had to do actually was to go out maybe into the Kuiper Belt, find a large asteroid or almost a planetary, very small planetary sized object, and likely alter it in ways, and then transport it into the Earth's domain, into the Earth's orbit, and that became our moon. And that would have enabled cycles that the Earth needed in order to awaken. As we know how much the Earth and the moon need each other. So that would have been the first thing that they did, and they may have done many other things as well. They may have been here for who knows how long, helping the Earth. But eventually, the Earth awakened. Now, here she is. Didn't look quite like that at that time, but not far from it. She awakened. Now, a planet awakening like that is almost like a childlike planet. She became awakened as a being, a living, knowing, experiencing planetary being, but she had no experience. Just imagine she's almost like a child in some ways. And she herself had to mature. We think of us maturing. I've been talking all this time about us maturing, to be the fruit of planet Earth, our planet. But she had to mature at that stage as well. Now, once she awoke, then this is a time where this first race, maybe some of you, I know some of them call it the Anunnaki, whatever they call themselves, I'm not sure. That's what we've called them. But a very, very advanced race. At this point where they visited us, at this point when the Earth became awake, they left. Probably to continue their work elsewhere. But they left, and so our Earth then had to work things out for herself. She went through many, many different stages. She had to develop her own unique character, just the same as we, as her fruit, we individually develop our own character. She needed to develop her own character. That's important actually in the galaxy, in the universe. Nothing is actually a clone of everything else. More like as mum and dad have a child, the child has characteristics and DNA passed on from the parents, but the child is a completely new, different individual, separate, and it'll have its own experiences and develop maybe some of the similar things in similar ways, but it's a completely independent and unique individual. So the Earth is also develops as she grew, as she developed. She became a completely new individual planet, unlike any other planet. Just the same as every other planet is not like every other planet. Every other star is different to every other star. Everything is different, it's unique, but it all works as one. So, in the story, the Earth continued to develop, just like we need to. She developed her characteristics, her personality. Now, until she got to a certain point where she became quite mature. She realized, just as us humans realize once we get a bit older, we hopefully mature, that with maturity comes responsibility. Whoa, responsibility. Now, the Earth realized she had a responsibility. Now, what is that responsibility? Well, she'd been through many, many changes on her journey. She had produced, using orbs. I might introduce you now to orbs. I have got a photograph here of how the Earth actually brings about life forms on her surface. So, the Earth produces orbs, energy. I've put here humans in it, because this is the first humans that developed. 24, I believe. But anyway, the Earth, first of all, would have produced those orbs. These orbs are kind of like the hands of the Earth. She's a living being, but she makes things, does things, heals things with energy orbs. Personally, I've seen some of them. I've seen golf ball ones myself, personally. Some seen in the sky, and we mistake them for being spacecraft, extraterrestrial. It's actually the Earth using these orbs to do healing in the atmosphere. But I will say, not all. Some of those lights that people see in the sky that have been witnessed throughout all of human history. The Native Americans talk about clamshells that fly. The Australian Aborigines talk about the Wudjina, the sky people. Stories are everywhere about the sky people. Yeah, these ones weren't present at this time, but the Earth produces these orbs. And the first orbs she would have produced would have been for vegetation. Various different types of plants that became eventually prolific. So then she produced orbs that would keep the vegetation under control. So herbivores. So the herbivores pruned and kept the vegetation in place, but then they started to get out of control. So she produces carnivores in there to control the herbivores. It gets to a point where she realizes that these entities that she has created don't really fit into her purpose to be able to bring about a fruit that can be and do the same things as the alien races that came to help her. That's where she changes her mind. She alters the whole thing to work better, to work in with her purpose. Now, when we change our mind, it can be pretty dramatic. When the Earth changes her mind, we call it an extinction event. And that's what happened to the poor old dinosaurs. It wasn't an asteroid that collided with the Earth. Oh, there have been asteroids that have collided with the Earth, but that wasn't what destroyed the dinosaurs. It was basically the Earth recalibrating herself, learning and growing and maturing and realizing that she needs to bring about a species that which can fulfill her responsibility in the galaxy, in the universe, in the cosmos. Her responsibility is to bring forth a fruit, a species that can one day develop, mature, and do the same job for other planets in other star systems as these original visitors that came here and did for her. That is her responsibility. So, she designed herself, reinvented herself, and then brought forth humanoids. Now I've drawn just 4 there. They formed in orbs, and the orbs became their spirit. There were 24 of them, I believe, possibly the 4 individual races that we call the black people, the white people, the red people, the yellow people. Likely 6 of each of the 4 tribes, 3 male, 3 female. And from there, that's it's all procreation after that. Now, at that point, this point here, the visitors came back. Because guess what? These individuals that were formed in these orbs, the humans, unlike animals and plants and everything else she'd brought into existence, all other life forms that exist on her surface, they're all based on instinct. They had instinct built into them. They knew what to do. These characters in here, the first 24 humanoids on her planet, on this planet, which we are her fruit. So these ones are not instinct-based. We're intelligence-based. But guess what? Although they may have formed fully mature physically, they would have been just like babies. They wouldn't have known any how to talk. They wouldn't have known where they were. They wouldn't have known anything. So at that time, this race came back. And they became the teachers, the ancient ones. They would have been considered as gods coming down from the sky. They most likely had bodies similar to what I've described in episode 10, but possibly much more advanced than the ones that we will start off with, although we'll get there. They may have had, they would have come in a mothership at first, which could have been parked out in the Kuiper Belt somewhere, and then smaller ships like shuttles coming down. Some of these individuals may have had add-ons to their body. This is something that I'm really hanging out there to do one day when I get there. I'll get there, so will you, so will everyone else. But when I get there, there'll be an add-on where you can put wings onto your body and literally fly like a bird in the sky. Well, these ones here may well have come down at this time, at this very early stage of teaching our race. But rather than seeing these great big ships, which may have scared us at that stage, they may have put on these wings and come down flying like birds, which is where we get the old idea of angels having wings. Many of our mythologies are all tied up with this time. Now we reach a stage where these ones are teaching us. A time of what has been referred to as Lemuria or Mur, some are saying now. Now this time period was very, very early, after we'd become awakened as individuals, as humans on the earth, and taught very much a utopia type of life. But now I'm going to talk a lot about that in episode 17 and continue that on there. So I'm going to leave now this story that I've developed and come back to this episode here. Alien races, and what are they doing here and right now? Why are they visiting us right now? Now, what I'm going to say is this race here that likely came, we've put a name on them. We've called them the Anunnaki. And it's been said about them that they visited us because they wanted the gold on our planet. None of that is true. Yes, they did see treasure here on Earth, but it's the treasure is us. We have the human race has the potential to one day join them and do the work that they are doing throughout the universe. So to them, a race that could be developed and matured is like gold. It really is. Because there are so many planets out there, so many star systems awaiting a humanoid race to come and help, to come and awaken, to come and do the work that this race has done. And we, one day, will do what they have done for our planet. Now I'm also going to say that there are other races out there. Some of them not quite as advanced as this first race. Some of them may not actually be that more advanced than us, but just a bit more. In their separation, as I mentioned, this is the separation that is taking place with us. We're almost at that point of the Great Split. But the other races have actually passed here, and maybe they're about here somewhere. They haven't really properly gone into their eternal stage. These ones here have passed this stage where their biological race that was side by side with them has got to the point where they no longer have biological entities on their planet. As this continues, these biological ones become less and less and less. The population decreases. These ones here don't have babies. They don't procreate anymore. These ones here, as they continue and get to this point, there's a point here where the last biologicals actually come to an end. However, with each race, there might still be in their spirit, in the spirit of their planet, there may still be some needing to recycle, to reincarnate into physical bodies, fleshly bodies, biological bodies. But there aren't any left on their planet. So that is what many races now, there's I wouldn't say many, there's a few of them anyway, that have got to that stage in their development where there are no more biological humanoids on their planet. They have now evolved spiritually, but they've got individuals in their planet's aura or orb, I'm going to call it, that still need that to come back to. Now, what our Earth is doing for them, right back from the very early time when our race was just few in number, but we had that almost utopia type environment that we were living in, that we were taught by that very advanced race. When at that time, the Earth allowed these races that are more advanced than us, way ahead of us, but still in that crossover, still at this point, she allowed them to come here and to occupy territories where we, her fruit, were not occupying. And they came here, and in fact I'm going to say this is still occurring to a much lesser degree today than when it first started, but it's still occurring today. The Earth allowed these advanced civilizations to come here to use some of the DNA from us. They modified it genetically so that they were a little bit more like them. And then the individuals that need to reincarnate from their planet are able to astro travel at the speed of we know how fast information can travel. We call it quantum, not mechanical, what is it? Oh, what is it? I have to think of it. Quantum entanglement. So I'll go back to that. What we today call quantum entanglement, where information can travel almost instantly across vast distances. They can be taken out of their planet. Their spirit can travel they travel to our planet, and they became possibly in incubators and produced other forms of life that really belong on another planet, on our planet. Our Earth really understands that she needs to do this for these other races, because one day her fruit might need to do the same thing somewhere else. This is how everything just keeps growing and expanding in very much the same way, but in an individual way too. So these individual races, they're still around, they're still visiting us, but our race now has almost encompassed the whole planet. So there aren't these really isolated places where races can just do their own thing. Possibly they're still beneath the oceans or beneath the ice packs. But this is where we get all mythologies coming from. Where we talk about hybrids. We talk about many scriptures have ideas of or legends of giants walking around in the earth, of different hybrid type humans. And this is where all these legends come from. As we grew in numbers, we might have fed out a bit and then come back and brought some of these stories of these ones that are over there. Very different to us. Some of them would have been much bigger than us. Some of them might have been much smaller than us too. But this is so that they have a chance now to mature themselves and one day evolve spiritually so that they can join their race in their place. So it's a chance for them to do that. So they've passed this point and they're up here somewhere, and these ones are coming to the earth and they're maturing on our planet. That's allowed by our planet, because one day we will get to that point. One day we will get to the point where humans or biological humans become very few in number, and eventually to this here there'll be a day of last biologicals. So that's part of our purpose. We will move out, go to another planet, do what these this race, the first race here, did for us, and do it for another planet. But we will likely be aware that there are some still in our Earth's aura, in our Earth spirit, that still need to mature. And we will mature them on another planet. Maybe when Jupiter leaves our system and becomes a star itself, then one of her moons will become a planet and we will go there. Yeah, all kinds of possibilities are in our future. So, yeah. So yeah, that's where the story ends, I think. I'm now going to talk about what's ahead for us in the immediate future. And I'm going to do that in episode 12. So I've tried to pack in so much information into this and I'm trying to tie different things together. I hope I haven't lost you or confused you too much. Please, if you'd like to contact me, it's in my website here, and there's a contact. So please, if you'd like to contact me and talk to me about this. I'm trying to fit so much in to such a short space of time and such a short period. I have so much more to say, but I can't say it all at once. So I'm going to leave this episode here now. I hope that's helped you to understand where ETs, extraterrestrials, fit into the picture that we are now going through. It explains what they're doing here. We don't have to fear them, but they're here for a purpose, and one day we will do the same thing somewhere else. So thank you for watching, and I will return in episode 12, which is the eternal future of the human race. The eternal future awaits the human race. Wow, what a future it is. Really it is. So, I'll see you then. Thank you.